Books presents an unabridged recording of Cherry Cheesecake Murder by Joanne Fluke, narrated by Suzanne Torin. This book is copyrighted 2006 by Joanne Fluke. This recording is copyrighted 2006 by Recorded Books. Just when our heroine, Hannah Swenson, has not one but two marriage proposals to contend with, along comes Ross Barton. Ross is an old college classmate of Hannah's, who's since become a big Hollywood producer. Lake Eden seems the ideal location for his next venture, and Hannah his ideal companion. But Hannah's front row seat to Ross's production unexpectedly turns into a front row seat to murder. And now, Cherry Cheesecake Murder.
Prologue. Lake Eden, Minnesota, Wednesday, the second week in March. Cut! Dean Lawrence had directed at plenty of locations, but Lake Eden was the worst. These yokels raised boredom to a whole new level. The chubby broad who ran the bakery made a great cherry cheesecake, and that was the only good thing he could say about Podunk Central. Nothing was working today. They were never going to get this scene. The local lethargy must be catching, and it was time to kick some butt. "What's with you, Burke? You're supposed to make people weep for you. Get up. I'll show you what I want here." Dean pushed Burke out of camera range and got ready to play the scene himself. Midway through the scene, he noticed that the redhead who baked his cheesecakes was staring at him with new respect. Maybe she'd be a little more receptive now that he'd impressed her with his talent. He opened the center desk drawer, pulled out the prop gun, and stared at it while he waited for Lynn's line. "I love you, Jody. Don't do this to me." It was a perfect reading of the line, and Dean was glad he'd decided to use her in his next movie. He put on a tortured expression as the camera came in for his close-up and gazed at Lynn with tears welling in his eyes. "I'm not doing it to you, lil' sis. I'm doing it for me." He raised the gun to his temple. Lynn looked horrified, exactly as she should, and he gave her a last sad smile. Then he squeezed the trigger. The gun went off, and Lynn screamed for real. Their director was dead. Chapter 1. 2 weeks earlier. Hannah Swenson did her best to convince her sleep-logged mind that the insistent electronic beeping she heard was in the soundtrack of her dream. A huge semi-tractor trailer was backing up to the kitchen door of her bakery, the cookie jar, to deliver the mountain of chocolate chips she'd ordered for the gazillion chocolate chip crunch cookies she'd promised to bake for her biggest fan, Porky Pig, who'd finally overcome his stutter with the help of a voice coach and was now being sworn in as President of the United States. The dream slipped away like the veils of Salome, and Hannah groaned as she clicked on the light. No doubt her dream was the result of watching Cartoon Network until 2 a.m. and eating 2 dishes of chocolate ice cream with a whole bag of microwave popcorn. She silenced the alarm and threw back the covers, sitting up in bed in an effort to fight her urge to burrow back into her warm blankets and pull them up over her head. "Come on, Moisha," she said, nudging the orange and white lump that nestled at the foot of her bed. "Daylight in the swamps, dawn in the desert, and sunrise in Lake Eden, Minnesota." Moisha's yellow eyes popped open. He looked out the window into the darkness beyond, then swiveled his head to stare at her accusingly. While most people didn't think cats could understand human speak, Hannah wasn't most people. This was primarily because Moisha wasn't most cats. "Sorry," Hannah apologized, backpedaling under his unblinking yellow gaze. "It's not really daylight in Lake Eden, but it will be soon, and I have to get up for work." Moisha seemed to accept her explanation, He opened his mouth in a wide yawn and gave the little squeak in the middle that Hannah found endearing. Then he began to stretch. Hannah never tired of watching her previously homeless tomcat go through his morning calisthenics. Moishe rolled onto his back and gazed up at the bedroom ceiling. His right front leg came up in a fascist salute, and after a slight pause, his left front leg shot up to join it. Then his back legs pushed toward the foot of the bed and spread out in a tensely inverted Y, like the handholds of a witching rod. Once his whole body was stretched taut, he began to quiver like the proverbial...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.